Malacanang assures the government will uphold the civil liberties of the people as guaranteed by the Constitution. At the same time, the palace urged critics of the Cybercrime Prevention Act and other concerned stakeholders to participate in a dialogue to address their various concerns. The full report from Rocky Ignacio.
Malacanang reassured the public that the Aquino administration will not suppress civil liberties expressed at the networking sites. Presidential spokesperson Edwin Laceda stressed this as the Cybercrime Prevention Act took effect today after the Supreme Court deferred action on several petitions against some controversial provisions of the law. Laceda claimed the Constitution guarantees the protection of liberties and will not be diminished by any law.
Let us bear in mind the law that binds us all, the Constitution. Our Constitution is clear and uncompromising in the civil liberties it guarantees to all our people. As a basic law, its guarantees cannot and will not be diminished or reduced by any law passed by Congress. The administration is equally adamant in upholding these liberties, which are regained at such high cost by our people. As the President said on September 27, the vigorous exchange of ideas that is a hallmark of a vibrant democracy requires those who disagree not to oppress others.
Malacanang also assured that no government agency will deprive anyone of access to the Internet.
We would therefore like to point out that no government entity has moved to deprive anyone of access to the Internet or to suppress civil liberties as exercised online. In fact, what has taken place is that hackers who claim to be aligned with critics of the Cybercrime Act are the ones who have engaged in online vandalism, depriving the broader public of access to much-needed government information and services online.
More than 7 petitions were filed at the Supreme Court that questioned the online libel, one of the provisions of the law.
Online libel was inserted by Senator Soto in the Senate deliberation. The takedown clause was also inserted during the Senate deliberation, for the record. And also, however, the penalty on the libel provision was inserted in BICAM. That's why there's been misinformation on that point. That's why we are clearing out.
Laceda said the law was passed to address legitimate concerns about criminal behavior on the Internet, such as cybersex and other abusive acts. He said freedom has reasonable limitations to protect Filipinos against vandalism and bullying.
We call on critics of the Cybercrime Act to speak out against online vandalism and bullying with as much vigor and passion as they have expressed in their objections to certain provisions of this law. If our freedoms have been hard-won, it would do us well to remember that in the end, vigilantism harms the cause of freedom of expression and civil liberties for all netizens.
Meanwhile, Malacanang has called for wide-range consultations with an interagency group tapped to draft the implementing rules and regulations of the law. Laceda also clarified that President Aquino cannot use his line veto power to some of the provisions of the law because it is not an appropriations bill like the budget. But he confirmed that Malacanang is open to any possible amendments of the law. For the People's Television, Rocky Ignacio.